soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the hall, and they stripped him. They put upon him a scarlet robe and a crown of thorns upon his head. They put a reed in his right hand, and they bowed their knee before him, and they mocked him. Hail to the King of the Jews! They spit upon him, and they took away the reed, and they smote him upon his head. Well, they took my blessed Savior. They put a cross upon his shoulder. They whipped him all the way up to Calvary's hill. They stretched him wide, and they hung him high, and that's where my Lord was crucified. He just hung there. He just hung there. He just hung there on the cross of Calvary. He just hung there. He just hung there. He just hung there and died for you and me. Listen, there was two thieves, one on each side of him, just to share the agony. One of them cried out to him, when you get in your kingdom, he said, oh Lord, remember me. Now Jesus heard that Son of Man's cry that was hanging right there by his side. He answered his plea. He said, this day ye shall be with me in paradise. Well, then he just hung there. He just hung there. He just hung there on the cross of Calvary. He just hung there. He just hung there. Hung there and died for you and me. Listen, from the 6th to the 9th hour, throughout the land, it was very dark. Then alone, about that 9th hour, Jesus cried out in a loud voice. He said, my God, why have thou forsaken me? There was a man standing there, heard my Savior cry, and he took a sponge in his hand. He put vinegar on the sponge, and he put the sponge on a reed and placed it to my Savior's mouth. Well, and he just hung there. He just hung there. He just hung there on the cross of Calvary. He just hung there. He just hung there. He just hung there and died for you and me. Hear this. But my Savior spoke again, and he said, it is finished. He was talking about his work down here below. Then he hung his head in the locks of his shoulder and gave up the ghost. Well, they took my blessed Savior down from the cross, and they laid him in Joseph's tomb. And he stayed there just like he said he would. And on the 3rd day he arose. Well, he